Freeze! This is the police. Drop your weapons and place your hands above your heads.
On Saturday, 6 members of the gang known as Street Thunder were ambushed by the police. On Sunday, the warlords of Street Thunder swore a blood oath to avenge their dead. For the gang called Street Thunder, it is a day of vengeance. It's war in the streets.
Oh, Jesus, come on. Come on, I'll give you my money. Just don't hurt me, please. Please.
It's terror in the night. It's the most shattering assault on a police station in history. Assault on Precinct 13.
This is the siege. It's a goddamn siege. You want to stay here and hold until somebody comes, okay? We're in the middle of a city, inside a police station.
What does that mean?
They're not afraid to die. Any of them. They want to rip us apart, no matter what it costs. It means to the death.
Precinct 13. Cut off. Isolated in the middle of a city. As a human wave of street killers turns the night into a nightmare.
We got a war going on down here. We can't find the damn thing.
A white-hot night of hate. Assault on Precinct 13.
Welcome back to our humble San Diego podcast. This is episode 273, Last Stand at Anderson. And we are your hosts, Chris Pawlak and Wesley Swanson. What's up, dude? Welcome back, man.
What's up? Thank you for having me. I apologize that we're not doing it in person for this show. But it's been a real hectic week, and my window of time was pretty short this week. So thank you for accommodating me, and apologies for over the phone.
No problem, dude. I'm excited. All just the same, especially with what we're getting to talk about tonight.
I'm excited. I love this movie.
Most definitely. So, for the end of May, our local projectionist wanted to travel back to the mid-70s for a breakdown of John Carpenter's Assault on Precinct 13. But before this, let's get everyone out there warmed up with our usual intro segment, shall we?
Absolutely.
And now for a special news report. Brought to you by Drop the Mic.
All right, pop culture news. I'll let you go first, my man. What do you have?
Well, we've had a few deaths in the movie world. The big one today was Ray Liotta.
Yeah, I can't. Still shocked by that, man.
Yeah, dude was kind of young, man.
67.
Yeah, that's a little too young still. So that's a bummer, you know. Yeah, man. You said you had Goodfellas on. That's the first thing that I think of when I think of Ray Liotta, because Goodfellas is probably like a top 5 favorite movie for me.
Yeah, Henry, right?
Yeah. Henry Hill.
Damn.
He's fucking great in Copland, another movie that is super underrated that you and I both love.
Yes.
And what are some other great ones? Oh, man, Something Wild. Have you ever seen Something Wild?
No, I don't. That's one I haven't seen.
The Jonathan Demme movie with like Jeff Daniels and Melanie Griffith.
Was that was before Field of Dreams, correct?
Yes. I think Something Wild is his first movie.
Yeah, because he got big on a soap opera, I believe, right?
Yeah.
First, like he was big in TV, and then he made the jump with Something Wild, I think.
Something Wild is his first movie. It's so good. It's like a comedy, but then it kind of takes like a bit of a more, you know, wilder turn. You know, if I can say that.
Yeah.
But Liotta's great, where he kind of starts off at one place and then he just like keeps amping it up throughout the entire movie, and he's like a full-on like Ray Liotta psycho at the end.
Yep.
But in a good way. The movie really is a comedy. It's not like he doesn't go into like super dark territory. But he's a lot more manic as the movie goes on. Narc. Narc is a super underrated movie.
Yeah, I feel like nobody talks about that one.
No, great movie. He's in it. Jason Patrick's so good in it, and the Cliff Martinez score is great.
Was Place Beyond the Pines.
Place Beyond the Pines, good movie. He's really funny in Observe and Report.
Yeah, definitely. What else? I had a little write-up for him. Can I go ahead and read it since you brought it up?
Absolutely, you can.
All right, so Goodfellas star Ray Liotta has passed away at the age of 67. While the cause of death has not yet been revealed, Liotta passed away while in the Dominican Republic filming his new movie Dangerous Waters. Liotta started in the TV world before crossing over into film with Field of Dreams and, of course, Goodfellas, cementing him as a heavy hitter. Through the years, Ray lent his voice not only to animated films like B-Movie, but even video games like Grand Theft Auto Vice City. With his presence in film back on the rise with more recent movies like No Sudden Move and Many Saints of Newark, it's a shame to suddenly lose such an iconic character actor. He surely will be missed, and his legacy will continue on.
R.I.P.
Yeah, dude. What? So I woke up this morning, and my buddy Ryan, shout out. He texted me just Ray Liotta with an emoji face crying, and I was like, "What happened? Like, what is this about?" And he's like, responds, "He passed away," and I was just like, "Man, it hit me way harder than I would ever think, you know." But that's an actor that I grew up with, and I've always thought that he was so fucking good, and to think about that he's not here anymore, suddenly it's super weird, you know.
Well, you know, and especially like with such an iconic performance in Goodfellas, which is one of the first movies I saw where I really started paying attention to film.
Yeah,
you know, and I know that probably says a little bit more about Martin Scorsese than it does Ray Liotta, but because that's one of my all-time favorite movies, that's always going to be, you know, one of the great performances and one of the great films that he's in.
Yeah, because I mean that movie is grounded around his character, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, not to steal your time. So what else you got?
Well, another one was this last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. Fred Ward, we lost.
Yes.
So R.I.P. to him. You know, shout out to Tremors, which is a great movie.
Yeah, I think Fred made appearances in all the first three, I believe, right?
Really? I've only seen the first one. I know Michael Gross is in a bunch of them.
Yeah, he's in like all of them.
But I've only ever seen the first one, to be totally honest. But him and Bacon are so good together.
Yeah. I know for a fact that Ward came back for the second one. Of course, Bacon did not. But I felt like he hung on to the Tremors stuff for a little while longer.
That's good. He was always more of a character actor. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, have you heard any, like, I've been hearing a lot of people say that he looks, or people thinking that John Bernthal was his son, but that's obviously, it's not true, but they do look similar.
Yeah, they have the very similar face. That's too bad. I remember like that second season of True Detective that no one liked. He was Colin Farrell's pop.
That's right.
But yeah, that would have been funny if Bernthal was his son in a movie or a TV show or something. Oh man, what else? The Right Stuff, which is another one of my all-time favorite movies.
Yes.
He's Gus Grissom, the second American in space. Fantastic film. Have you ever seen The Player? The Player is great too.
Who else is
Robert Altman movie, like Tim Robbins is in it.
I don't think so.
It's a movie about Hollywood. Tim Robbins is a producer. But the opening scene of the film is like one long continuous shot as it kind of goes through the studio, the back lot of the studio.
Mm-hmm.
And while this long continuous shot is going on, Fred Ward, his character is the head of security for the studio. And he's wandering around having a conversation with the guy about like some of the great all-time long shots in films. And it's just like kind of a meta moment because they're doing an actual long shot in the movie that you're watching, and they're talking about the great long shots in film. Road Trip, he's hilarious in Road Trip.
That's right. He's DJ Qual's dad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a movie from the 80s that was like a bomb, but is actually pretty fucking fun if you can get past some of the outdated cultural depiction that's in it, is Remo Williams' The Adventure Begins.
Ah, okay.
That I think it's like from 85 or 86. It's got a really great action sequence at the Statue of Liberty, which was under renovation at the time, so all the scaffolding is surrounding it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was always a movie that I watched a bunch of when I was a kid because it was on HBO a lot. So that's a pretty fun movie. Check that out. That's probably one that not a lot of people know about. Oh, and another one that I believe was last week as well was Vangelis, that passed away. Are you familiar with him?
No, I don't think so.
You are familiar with some of his work. He was a composer, and he mainly that, but he also did a handful of film scores. Chariots of Fire is one of his most famous, was that theme, that Chariots of Fire theme, which you definitely have heard.
Yeah.
Oscar-winning composer. He also scored a very famous movie that I can neither confirm nor deny that we will be talking about in the upcoming months. And then two movies that aren't great are Ridley Scott's Conquest of Paradise of 1492 and Oliver Stone's Alexander. Not great movies, but he did the score for them, and I think the score for them is so much better than the movie that they're in. But yeah, I wanted to shout him out, especially because he, being a composer, but having two really famous scores for movies, I wanted to shout him out.
What, if I can ask, what happened?
He died of he was Greek, I believe. Died of complications from COVID-19.
Oh.
You know, still fucking almost 3 years. Well, yeah, we're in the third year, but, 3 years on, and people are still dying from complications. So, take things seriously still, people. So, wanted to shout those guys out. The last piece of news I have, pop culture-wise, because I don't want to get into the news of the real world. It's too fucking depressing.
Oh, yeah.
The Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 trailer dropped the other day. It's fucking badass. I can't wait to watch the movie. I'm so stoked. I'm a huge Mission Impossible fan. We talked about this on the last episode with The Killer because of John Woo and his contribution to the Mission Impossible films. If you haven't seen the trailer, check it out. It's so fucking awesome.
Did you hear about that they're holding it back till next year?
Yeah, it was supposed to come out in September, and then a few months ago, I heard that they pushed it to July of next year, and the reason for that, as far as I read, was because this is part one of a two-part.
Oh, okay.
And I think after the second part, they're like wrapping it up. Apparently the end of this one leads directly into the second part, so they wanted to kind of release them closer together.
Oh, all right.
So I think this is July